And we are back and live. And tonight we're talking with Teresa and Scott. And Teresa is originally from Paranormal Truth Seekers, and Scott is from Ghostly Gateway Paranormal Investigations. And they got themselves together because they knew each other from the past, from what Teresa said. And they started Paranormal Gateway ParaTalk. So, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good,
Pretty
good. How
good.
are
How you
you?
guys?
I'm doing pretty good. So, for the viewers that probably don't or haven't known about you or don't know about you, haven't checked out your pages or anything, the first question out of the box will be, what got you started and interested in the paranormal? And ladies first.
Okay. Um, my journey in this actually started at a very young age. I started experiencing paranormal things that I didn't realize were paranormal things at the time. Um, to the best of my knowledge, I can remember it starting when I was about 6 or 7 years old.
Hmm.
And from there, it just, well, here we are today. So it was all because of experiences that started at my parents' house that really got me curious and intrigued, and I wanted to know more, and I wanted to understand what was happening and what I was experiencing.
Okay, that's cool. And Scott, how about you?
Well, for me, it's totally different. I never had any experiences, but when I was growing up, I did a lot of research in paranormal, and I got to the point in my life that I thought I'd be comfortable enough to start up because I had a family and everything, make sure that it's okay with them. Um, I tried to get hold of a group, and I found one, and ever since the first investigation I had with them, it was at church, and I got one of the best MVPs I ever got. And after that, I mean, I was in that group, and I went to another group, and that's where I'm at now. So,
Okay, cool. So, have you two been on investigations together then?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, maybe
yeah.
four,
We
four now,
actually,
probably.
yeah. So Scott was teamed up with two of the guys that are on normal Truth Seekers, but
Okay.
still investigate with Scott and like his team. So they kind of went their different ways, did different things because Scott had moved out to Ohio.
Okay.
So one of those guys found my team and was interested in joining my team. So Bill Hyland, he came on board on my team. And then Don Ream came on board on my team. And Scott and I had already known each other by this point in time with me moving out to Indiana because I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so is Scott.
Okay.
Um, and it's not long after, a few months maybe, Scott, after I moved out here, it was like, hey, we're so close to each other. Like, it's time to tag team and get some stuff done, man.
Yeah,
So here we
yeah.
are.
Actually, she's doing the. She's actually the right side of Indiana, and she's like 1 hour away from me, hour and a
Yeah,
half. So we get there to
Cool.
do the stuff together. Like we did fire museum last year
yeah,
in Mansfield, that's Ohio. So that was our first investigation I learned out here.
yeah.
Cool. So, what kind of places do you guys go to? Is there anything
Everything.
that all of us has heard of, or anything new that we haven't heard of?
No, I don't think so. Not really, Scott, huh? Like we enjoy exploring, some of it's a good combination of everything. We
Okay.
do residential investigations, we do cemeteries, we do the abandoned like asylums and businesses, and it's really a little bit of everything. We're not very biased, we a little bit of everything.
Okay. So, what's your favorite places to investigate?
Well, I
What's
think
your
my
favorite?
favorite so far, well, I think Haldeman was the best one for me. because I got a direct answer to. I was doing an EP session, and it's supposed to be a little girl named Hannah. And T, it's the first time I met T. The first investigation I met T was a haunted mansion, and I was in, what was that, in
Like
Pennsylvania.
Lancaster County. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was setting up my equipment. We have a habit. First thing we do, when we get to a place before we set anything up, we put our recorders on our hats, and we set recorders. So as I was setting stuff up, I did a EVP on myself, and I think the boy was named Jacob and Hannah.
Yeah.
And so I asked, is Jacob here, or is Hannah here too? And I heard, I'm like, and she came upstairs at that time. I'm telling her, I think I heard that. And we play it back, you hear her say, So that is probably one of my favorite investigations. I actually heard it, her say that.
Or you heard it.
So-
You heard it instead of hearing it on the tape. Then.
Yeah.
And then I heard my tape too. So
Yeah. Okay. And Teresa.
I think for me personally, my favorite places to go to are those that have a lot of a good bit of history to them. I'm really intrigued with historical places. I think my second on the list is cemeteries. I really do enjoy going to cemeteries, especially the real old kind of creepy ones. Like that's right on up my lane. I like the creepy things.
I love
as far as locations that we have been to so far, I personally think so far my all-time favorite location has been the Hinsdale House, and it's pretty cool because the first time
I've been in.
I'm gonna smear it in. But see, he talks a whole lot of smack here right now. But we are actually getting ready to go back to the Hinsdale House. I mean, it will be Scott's first time and Bill's first time and Don's first time. So yeah, I've kind of got the one up on them. I do. But
hopefully she'll get to show them around.
Yeah, that place was definitely one of my favorite locations by far so far, and I can't wait to take my guys back, and I can't wait to go back.
Cool. So
that's next month.
I'm sorry, what was that, Scott?
That's next month.
That is next month.
Investigation there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Trip to
So
New York.
what's some of the most intriguing like EVPs you ever got?
Well, we've got some very vulgar ones.
We get a lot of words. Oh, a lot of them. Yeah, a lot.
No, you don't expect the spirits to behave themselves, do you?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It makes it for a much more interesting investigation when they're actually on their, work behavior. it kind of keeps you on your toes. It's interesting. I think for me personally, some of the best is when you get a direct response.
Yeah.
And we've got
last
time.
Yeah.
Last
investigation in investigation I was in Pennsylvania was Selma mentioned. And we got a growl that we picked up. Me and Bill would talk about fixing my computers, make a lot of noise. And then we picked up a growl. And you can hear it. We hear it. When we play it back, we heard it.
Cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool because I've never heard a growl there before.
That was weird.
So have you ever really got some weird stuff in cemeteries when you go?
I think the oddest thing I got as far as an EVP in a cemetery was it almost sounded like a busy city in a cemetery. Like there was just so much commotion and noise, and it was a lot going on in this maybe 2-minute long EVP. I mean, and it was just solid for the whole like 2 minutes.
Wow.
It was just, for me, it was odd. It was out of place because we're in the middle of absolute nowhere, way back in the woods, and we get this EVP that sounds like this hustling, busy city. It was weird.
That's kind of interesting.
Basically, like she said, same thing to me. You get some murmurs. You can hear it talking, but you can't make it out.
Mhm.
That's kind of really pissed off because you're trying to get something out of it and you can't do it. But we like to go there anyway. We gotta get to one. We'll do.
It sounds like Scott's got some internet bubbles happening.
Yeah, you keep freezing on us, Scott.
Go.
Damn it, man.
I got bubbles.
Yeah, that's how we kind of say it whenever you get those weird jaunts and freezes.
It's just part of working on computers for so long.
Yeah.
Internet.
So,
Yeah, it's so much for them all thinking technology is so smart. It's so smart. It's amazing.
yeah,
Yes, they're a little
unfortunately,
lighter.
technology's a little too smart sometimes.
Yeah.
So when you guys go out and do your investigations, what kind of equipment do you use?
Well, I think our two top favorite pieces of equipment devices that we take along with us are, of course, ourselves. A lot of people do not look at themselves at being an instrument, and I think you really do need to, because of your senses.
I got to tell you, Teresa, you're the first one out of everybody we have
No,
actually.
they're not.
Oh, she's not?
No, they're not.
Okay, then she's the first one out of everybody that I remember saying that you consider yourself a piece of equipment.
You got old, so your memory's bad.
Yep, I got that old man memory.
It is a rare thing for that.
No.
Yeah, it is for people to actually come forward and say that.
Yeah.
But there's only like out of all the guests we had, maybe 2 others have said that.
Oh, wow.
Or something
Teresa
similar.
is our baby.
My most important piece of equipment is myself.
Yeah. Actually,
It
yeah,
is.
no.
Yeah.
I will take that back. It was Dr. Christy Sumner that said that.
You think it was? I don't remember.
I think it was her that said that.
I know there was more. I don't know who.
No, I do believe it was her that said that.
It makes sense.
Well, yeah.
You got to have sense for the one that's got it.
All right, Joe, you're cutting in and out too, buddy.
Can you explain it? Can you not explain it? You gotta use your mind a lot when you're out there.
Right.
Plus, then you use your senses as well.
Absolutely. And you have to learn how to control your mind and your senses when you're in an environment like that, because what I like to tell people is your mind is your deadliest weapon. It can let you run away with things. It can put you in a state of panic if you let yourself get carried away with things. But if you are able to keep yourself grounded and you use yourself as the key pinpoint tool in your investigation, it kind of helps with the rest of the investigation. If you can control your own being and the elements that's going on around you, well, then you can actually be able to maybe get more communication, or instead of, and I know Scott and I think about this so many times, because it's one of those things where it's like, as soon as like you're told off, like in an EVP, or you get touched, or someone sees a shadow, it's like, demon kind of like thing. It's like, no, calm down, Sally. Like, yes, there's negative entities out there. We truly believe that, but we're not so quick to jump this oh, this is something demonic kind of thing all the time, you know?
Right.
So if something happens that kind of throws you off guard, if you can control your own mind and your body, well, then it kind of opens up the gateway for more interaction to happen and for you to kind of shut out what may be negative and let more of the positive in to be able to communicate with you. So it's, I mean, first and foremost, I think it's yourself. And then, you know, Scott will second me on this. You got to have a recorder. You have to have an audio recorder. And that is, I think, it's the second most important piece of equipment, device that you can have with you on an investigation.
Yeah,
and then we have
I say that clear your mind when, because every investigation you go to, whether you go to 2 or 3 times, it could be different.
Yeah.
So you gotta treat each time as your first time going there. That's the way I feel.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And then we've got the video recorders, and we've got the EMF detectors, and we have pretty much everything that almost every other typical investigation team has. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of when we get them out, when we use them, if we think we're even going to need them, or if we think it's going to come in handy for the precise location that we are in. Like, of course, if we are in the middle of nowhere, we're going to want to have, or at least one of us is going to want to have an EMF detector. Because if we're in the middle of nowhere and we're getting hits on this thing, well, that's kind of telling me something,
Oh, yeah.
But in a house where there's already so much going on in that home that could be drawing in and giving you hits on an EMF detector, well, it's kind of, I wouldn't say a useless device, but it doesn't, there's other things that you can use that make more sense.
Right. Well, also with the EMF detectors.
Depends on how long.
Oh, go ahead, Scott. I'll let you.
It also depends, like investigations we do. Some places they allow us 4 hours investigating and taking time to set up because they need investigation time. So that's what we do, choose different equipment.
Okay, but sometimes doing a quick sweep with an EMF meter too can help you out, especially on those home investigations, because the electromagnetic field that is produced by the wiring or the fuse boxes, if it's an old house, or breaker boxes or whatever, those, depending on the amount that's coming off those can actually affect people that are in the home as well.
We dealt with that a few years back. We did, my team, we did a residential case where the claims were just, off the wall. Off the chart, like claims, And you never want to look at somebody and be like, oh, come on. Like, not all this will be happening. You do your best to respect a person in that kind of situation, because they are allowing you to come into their home and investigate their home and hear their claims. And this person was extremely worried about what was going on. Well, because we always go in, we do a sweep baseline reading of the home in each room. We ended up finding out that downstairs in her basement, that sucker just lit up like a Christmas tree. There were so many exposed fires because of it being like an old home, home that was built in, I think it was built in the 40s, late 40s, I believe it was. So, girlfriend had exposed wires everywhere. Where an inspector came into that home, they'd have been like, oh, this is a no-no. Like, so, we made some recommendations to her and was like, look, why don't you get this taken care of? And, wait like a month, see how you feel, see if things change. And it was amazing because lo and behold, we did do a full investigation. We did get some pretty intriguing, EVPs, but that was it. Just all EVPs. And she got all of the electrical work fixed and everything. Got a breaker box fixed. It was throwing out too much than what the breaker box was actually like set for or recommended for. I'm not sure how that stuff works. Okay, I'm not electrical.
No, yeah,
it was.
it's rated. The breaker box was rated for a certain wattage or voltage.
Yeah.
And it was
overworked.
I'm gonna hear that shit. No way.
Kind of sounds like the breaker box we have at work because you plug our pallet jack in, and it'll snap the breaker.
Yeah.
I have that in my house here.
Yeah, it's like your house.
Oh yeah.
Some people.
I was thinking you guys talk about the math problems and some of the ghost shows.
Yeah.
They walk around. They have the EMS detector on top of their phone.
Yeah.
And they're picking stuff up when they're kids. You got a phone in
Oh,
your
yeah.
hand too. So
You can't have electronics in one hand and the EMF meter in another. You're gonna wind up getting some bleed off.
That kills me.
I know Joe was trying to say something. I didn't hear you, Joe.
I was just going to say something like, those old buildings like that. That's like one of the last things people think of sometimes when they're remodeling is redoing the wiring. And with all that, over years, that plastic coating on wiring is going to erode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things is it needs to be grounded properly. If it's not grounded
And
properly,
and
it
you'll
throws
watch-
all kinds of EMF.
Well, they've been proven
watch the wires that are wrapped in cotton and then put in.
what is it? Electromagnetic fields.
Yeah.
Can upset your body, your what do they call that?
It can cause hallucinations.
That too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scott, I did hear what you said there, even though you got that internet bubble going. But no, yeah, the older wiring they used to wrap some of it in treated cotton.
Cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of fires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where they
But the
started.
cotton was treated with a chemical.
But that erodes over.
Yeah, I know. And also, if you look at some of the wiring from the
years
older,
ago, I helped my brother out of the house. Got that.
but if you look at some of the wiring from the older days, some of it's not copper; it's aluminum.
Yeah,
and the aluminum wiring, if it gets
actually
exposed,
that was
it actually
that's what it was.
It will deteriorate very rapidly once it's exposed.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen that before in old houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced it. I had a
20
trailer
years ago.
home.
We 20 years ago, my dad redo his house, and we had to rip out the walls, and it was old horsehair plaster. You hear that?
Horsehair?
And then they had those wires in there.
Horsehair?
Yeah, horsehair plaster. Yep. They used
wow.
horsehair.
Yeah, I used to have a double wide mobile home, one of those trailers that when I lived in California, and I experienced that aluminum wiring firsthand. I actually had to have it all replaced up to the house because it was aluminum wire in a sheath, and the sheath got a little nick in it, and that's all it took, and it just deteriorated everything. And it was
Mark,
grounding
I think
out.
we're showing our age.
What's that?
I said, I think we're showing our age.
Showing your age? Yeah, possibly. Joe's older than me.
No,
we have a habit of doing
that. I'll be 53 this year.
So am I. October of this year, I'll be 53.
No, you're not.
I'll
yes,
guess
I
me.
am.
You're like 60.
Scott, I got my birthday coming up in 5 days, so we got something for my birthday.
Well, yeah, it's 37.
What,
Oh,
the 10th?
For mine.
What?
How
Yeah,
old is
hers is 4 days before yours, Joe.
Yeah. Mine's on the
Oh, nice. Another Pisces.
That's all right. Are you sure
How about
you're
T?
Pisces? Because I heard that
How old are
they're
you,
changing
T?
the zodiac.
Okay, now hold on.
What?
They have supposedly changed the zodiac now, like what, 3 times or something like that. Like, I'm sticking with the original, and that's that. That's what I say.
I
Okay?
had to throw that out there when you said
I don't know
that.
about Joe,
When
but
you
that's
said
what I say.
Pisces,
I'm
I had to
sticking
throw
with
that
that.
out there. I know, isn't that ridiculous that they're talking about doing that?
Yeah. No, I'm sticking with what they said how many years ago, and that's just that. I'm not changing. I mean, I think the cutoff for Pisces is what, the 20th, Joe? Do you know anything? I think it's like the 20th.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've got some cushion. We've got some leadway there, but I know it's crazy how they can just up and change something like that.
Yeah.
People have too much freaking time on their hands.
They do.
They did. They definitely did last year because of this damn COVID and all the lockdown that happened. People had way too much time on their hands.
They had nothing but time. They're like, well, let's make some more stuff up. Why not?
Except for me, I was considered an essential worker, and I had to work the entire damn time.
My wife does too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know a lot of people that had to too.
Adams on the Adams family.
Oh, Joe. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'll get him later.
No,
That's the joy of good friendship,
Well, yeah, you can always poke fun at each other.
Exactly.
We do.
Go
Every
out
investigation.
Yeah, right?
Have you ever gone out hunting with cryptids?
We do have a lot of fun on investigations.
I have. I mean, I don't know. Scott, have you? Yeah, I mean.
What?
I have years ago actually going on like an investigation for like any kind of, like your
like
cryptid,
Bigfoot,
your Bigfoot,
or the Wolfman, or the Dogman of Michigan, or stuff like that. Or the Mothman. You got the Dogman of Michigan. You got Bigfoot. Bigfoot's been seen all over the United States, upper Canada, and all that.
Many different states have all
New Jersey Devil,
local ones.
Yeah,
Jersey Devil.
Really known in Ohio right now. Like Ohio and Pennsylvania are two of the bigger locations right now for good old Sasquatch.
Yep.
You need to go out in your backyard and start hunting for Sasquatch. Come on, son.
Keep a lookout.
We've got a place here in Wisconsin called the Kettle Moraine Forest. It runs pretty much the length of the state, and it's actually where I live at here in Wisconsin. I'm pretty close to where they've been seeing the Bigfoot over there.
Hot spots have been in the last couple of years. There's been a lot of activity right around that area. He's pretty close.
I'm going to go squatching.
Well, you can with Mark and Joe, okay?
Yeah, actually, I want to go out to Kettle Moraine and take a look at some of that out there because it's been pretty intriguing. Some of the reports coming out of there.
I think it's extremely intriguing. Bigfoot is definitely one of those things where, and you hear the horror stories about, and it's not even so much things that have happened to people when they've experienced a Bigfoot. It's how they feel. It's the extreme sense of fear that they feel when they see one of these things. And I'm sitting over here in my corner like, oh, bring it on. Like, I want to go see Bigfoot. Like, I want to see Bigfoot, But I think for me personally, it's one of those things, especially with Bigfoot, is, I mean, come on. I was born in the 80s, and for as long as I can remember, we talked about Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see one of these things. I want to see one.
Okay.
Oh, should have watched this man, Darn Man.
Do you real?
Say should have watched the $6 million man. He was on there.
He was. Yeah, he was.
All right, Scott. Now you're definitely showing her age. You know, Teresa here. She actually just kind of aged herself by giving us a hint on her birth years.
I'm the baby.
Yes, you are.
You're
the youngest in this group right
I'm
now.
the baby.
So
I'm probably 13 years older than she is.
So I'm noticing.
Now you're giving your age away. You already
this.
gave your age away earlier. Never mind.
I am noticing the Scott's background here. You got a UFO up there. You got a ghost up there. You do have Bigfoot. He's giving you a thumbs up. You got Nessie underneath, and then the alien over here. So does that mean you guys also talk about UFOs?
We do.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you got any stories of UFOs?
For me personally, the only story that I really have in which I experienced something that to this day, I still do not know what the heck we saw. So I was actually on a vacation with my brothers, their significant others at a time, some mutual friends, and 3 of us had decided to walk down to, we stayed at Peak Island. So you stay right there on the beach. You know, you camp right there on the beach. And I don't know, it was probably about 2:00 in the morning. And I mean, it was just this very, it was like a light show happening in the sky. It wasn't one set, you know, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, we saw these white lights in the sky. Like, no, we were seeing green, we were seeing purple, we were seeing red, like, and the way that they were moving so sporadic and so fast. And so like, there's nothing that, and we're all just kind of standing there, like looking at what we're seeing and then looking over at each other, like, are you seeing this too? Like, okay. I didn't drink that much, did I? Like, y'all seeing this too, right? So the craziest part about this was we definitely were not the only ones to see this, because the following day, now we were still supposed to be staying for, I think, like 3 more days. But my little nephew, who was only but a few months old, it was very, very hot, unfortunately, very hot. And he was just a little guy, I mean, but a few months old. And it was starting to take a toll on the little guy. We were like, okay, it's time to pack up and go home for the sake of him. And on our way home, on the one stretch that it will take you from Maryland to Pennsylvania, there was just news van after news van after news truck after news. So a lot of other people had seen this. And we ended up stopping at a gas station, and there were 2 news, vans that were there. So one of the guys that I was with, they had just asked, like, hey, like, what the heck is going on? Like, what are you guys here for? And that's when we found out that it was confirmed to us that, yeah, they were all there because of what we saw and how many other people saw in the sky that night. It was it was one of the most awesome things I have ever seen. I will say that. Definitely one of the most awesome things I have ever got to experience. But it is still one of those things for me that, because it's still such a mystery as to what it was, it's like, it's still always on the front line of my mind of, man, I really want to know. Like, I want to know indefinitely what that was. Like, I want to know. So for me, that was my personal crazy experience I've had. Scott, you've had something though too, haven't you?
Just with we didn't see it at the time. I guess Bill won't mind me saying about this.
No.
2014, when I was with my old group in Pennsylvania, it was me, Bill, and Don, and we went to Centralia for a day, and we went to all the cemeteries and stuff. And we got home, he was going through his pictures he took, and got a picture that looks like a UFO in the sky off in the distance. If you check our last show, I think we had with them, he has a picture. So,
Well, it wasn't our last show. I think it was the one before, because our last show we talked about some of the different locations, haunted locations.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Come on,
One of the last show was yeah.
Yeah, it was a very recent show, though. Leave it to the woman to keep your ass straight.
No, yeah, you always keep my ass straight.
Somebody has to.
Yeah, because the reason I ask, I mean, I see it on your background there, but the reason I ask is because Joe and I also we cover everything. We'll cover everything from spirit hauntings, cryptids. What's that, Joe?
We just start thinking about that for.
Speak up, son. I can't hear you.
I really start thinking about it. I'm sorry.
No, not you.
I think last 2 years when we really start thinking about it. Oh.
I said serial killers.
Oh yeah, we did it. We actually did a show.
Some, not the ones that are dangerous, but
we did a show with a guy that my niece, who's friends with in California, got us in contact with, and he was a very big fan of Charles Manson. And he actually visited Charles Manson while Manson was in court prison.
About 30 times.
About 30 something times, and he got to know Manson well enough that basically they became friends.
Wow.
Yeah, and we did an entire show interviewing him, and he talked a lot about Manson. So, if you're interested in stuff like that, you can find it on our YouTube channel, because it is up on our YouTube channel.
Let's see, we like conspiracy theory.
His name is William Harder.
Oh,
yeah.
The one biggest conspiracy theory that got the biggest hit.
I'm kind of surprised that.
Is Elvis still alive?
Supposedly.
Yeah, we did 2 shows on that too.
Got a lot of attention when we talked about it.
That's like Tupac, y'all. Supposedly Tupac is still alive too. He's down in the Bahamas, living it up in his mom.
Yeah,
you never know.
Jackson.
I'm huge into the conspiracy theories. I grew up in that environment. My dad is very much into conspiracy theories and intrigued with some of the conspiracy theories, and but I grew up in that, and I think that's kind of what helped to give me the nudge that I needed. The very first team that I joined, I was only 14 years old, but I had all the support in the world from my parents, and I think that's why it came so welcoming. Because, my dad was already this big, huge conspiracy theorist, and then he's just like, oh, well, now my daughter's talking to spoogly boos and, these things that we can't see in the house. And, but hey, let her do her. You do you,
You do you.
Yeah, you do you, boo-boo.
So do you guys work with mediums or anything like that?
I have in the past.
Yeah. I mean, I had a very
right now.
Yeah, not right now. And I think a lot of it for me right now is, I don't know. My last experience with one left a very bitter taste in my mouth. And I know not all of them are like that, and I know. I know. But it was one of those things where the blatant lies, You know what I mean? I mean, very obvious, blatant lies. And since then, I just kind of, took a step back on that, and it's now kind of really become, I'm really sensitive. So when we go into a location, I mean, I kind of am my own best tool in that environment, because if I feel drawn to a certain room or a certain location, I will just go. Like, who's coming with me? Like, we're going this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
Now, if we go into a location and I can't pinpoint something, I will definitely try to reach out. I mean, I've got connections, and I know some people, so, I'll reach out to my resource and just ask them, hey, can you tap into this? Can you, tell me more about this? Because I wasn't able to really fulfill myself with trying to figure out what was coming to me. And I mean, we'll do that, but right now, we don't have any psychics or mediums or anything like that that's actually on the team with us.
Okay. Well, have you ever thought of trying to... I'm sorry, go ahead, Scott.
I look susceptible to EMF. I can actually feel the EMF when we go in the face. So I can usually tell.
Human EMF detector.
Human EMF detector.
I am.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're
Some places
sensitive
have
to
to
the
walk
field.
out.
You're sensitive to the magnetic fields.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And a lot
Teresa,
of people
And
are.
a
They just don't
zapper
realize.
too.
right? So I was just wondering,
That
Teresa, have you ever thought of trying to like hone your ability to be sensitive more?
Yes, and it's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because I have actually been working a lot more, especially I think what really drove me to do this here recently is because we're getting ready. Well, I'm getting ready to go back. My guys are going to be going to the Hinsdale house, and
And Scott's
the
going to be
last
joining
time, yes.
Yeah.
We're all making the trip to New York together, so yeah, it will be nice. But we had
whole
some things
weekend.
happen the last time that we were there. So I really want to be able to tap into more this next time. So the last few months, I have actually been doing a lot to hone into this, and I've been pretty impressed with myself, because I've been able to tell certain people in my life that I know, very personal, that certain things that they were like, holy crap, you were right. Like, this happened. I'm like, okay, we're on the right path here. Just gonna go with the flow.
Yeah, it is kind of a nice feeling whenever you sense something, or you feel that you sense something, and then it starts to manifest as being true.
Yeah.
Or starting to happen.
It gives
And
you
then
that validation.
it gives you validation and satisfaction.
Yeah.
Knowing that you were correct. But in the beginning, especially if you're just trying to hone it and understand it and work with it, in the beginning, you just you're afraid to say anything because you don't want.
And it can be very confusing too. And I think this is what a lot of people don't understand about somebody who is sensitive or a medium or a psychic is when we have things come to us, the way that they come to us are in different forms, are in different, I mean, I can see a red rose one second, but then see a book another second. Well, what do a book and a red rose have in common? You know what? So I think a lot of people, when they think about a psychic or a medium, that, it's just like it comes to you in a clear sign, in a clear indication.
No, it doesn't.
No, it's not always like that. I mean,
No.
Are certain things very clear? Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. But it could also have the opposite meaning too, and people don't realize that either.
Mhm. Yeah. Uh, I'm getting back into practicing Wicca. I used to be a Wiccan when I
Oh,
was
no.
younger.
I got my altar behind us.
That's cool.
Awesome.
There you go.
So are you doing that too? Are you practicing Wicca then? Or
I absolutely do. Yes.
awesome. So now you know where I'm going with that. Yeah.
Well, we gotta talk some more.
So do you try to read tarots?
I do. I absolutely do. Yes. And I've been very successful with the readings that I've done. I don't like pulling for myself. I will pull for other people, but the best way that I can describe it to people about myself is, and it's weird, Joe might be able to kind of, because I've come to find out this is like it's like a Pisces thing. It really is. But the best way I can describe it is we are master manipulators. And what I mean by that is we could be having the worst day possible on the face of the planet. We're just done.
Mm-hmm.
But the face that we put on for everyone to see, you would never know it.
Right.
We could be hiding so much, and we can hide so much from everybody. And you could be my husband. I mean, y'all could ask my husband. Now, we've been together long enough that he's like, all right, what's eating you up? Like, what's going on? You know? But the first 5 years, 6 years of our relationship, it's like that she's batshit crazy. Like, you know, it was, I mean, seriously, because
I confirm.
And when you're in a relationship and you're trying to get somebody to understand who you are and what you're about.
Right.
It is a very confusing situation for somebody that you're sharing your life with. I mean.
No, I know, because the woman that I moved to Wisconsin for, I gave her about 21 years of my life, and I gave up Wicca because of her, because it freaked her out so much, and I didn't want to, I didn't want that friction there, and I did everything for her, and then she just up and just kind of went right out the door.
That's the one good thing that I can say about my husband is he is so supportive in every way with everything that I do. He may not understand it, but he's like, that's okay with me. I don't have to understand it. This is your belief. This is what you practice. And what kind of, would I be to interfere or to try to object against how you feel?
Like, right. No, and that's great. And I'm actually happy for you that you found someone that's that understanding.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Every now and then he's like, okay.
But for a lot of us that are in the Wicca, in the Wiccan and everything, it's sometimes it's difficult to find someone who can be understanding and willing to stick with you through it all.
Yeah.
But I gotta say this: from the time that I was younger and practicing at that time up until now, it's more accepted and more widely understood now than it used to be. Yeah. When I was practicing, I was like 16, 17, 18 years old, and I couldn't even, I mean, it was hard for me to even tell anybody because of the fact that they always looked at me like I was a devil worshiper or that I kissed Satan's feet or something like that. And it's like, no, that's not what it is. Yeah, thank you, Satanist.
Demon.
So, but I do have to say this. I have had experiences where I have dealt with demons because a woman that I dated was a witch. I don't think
we ever have.
A woman I dated, she was actually a witch. She was a Hispanic woman. She, my age at the time, She practiced the dark magics, and
see,
for her,
I
I had-
identify as a witch
Yeah.
too, but I don't dabble into that kind of crap.
no,
It's
I
all
won't.
good
I won't
vibes
touch
here.
them.
It's a good
Yeah,
vibe.
I won't touch the darks because I
No.
know better. I've seen the bad side of it all. I've had to actually bring light into the bad side of it, and it is not fun.
Yeah, no, I stay away from that stuff. We've been on an investigation where, I mean, there was definitely the darker magic that was cast and being practiced, and it definitely left that very, for me, it's a sickening feeling. Like I get sick
Oh yeah.
in the
Oh
of
heck
my
yeah.
stomach. Like that's how it makes me feel.
You can feel it. You can feel it when you walk like if you're going into an investigation and there has been some darkness there, you can feel it.
Absolutely.
It's a heavy, dreary, like
Yes.
dripping feeling, and it feels like if you don't move out of that particular area, it's just gonna pull you right down into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier with being able to control your own psyche and your own senses and keep yourself grounded. I mean, that kind of goes hand in hand when dealing with that, because you go into an environment like that and you can't keep yourself grounded. You can't, it will, like you just said, it's like you're about ready to be drowned.
Yeah.
Is the best way I can describe it. It's a very suffocating feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like you're being pulled under, and you're struggling to get out.
Absolutely.
But then, you also got to remember too that there are times where there is darkness there, but it's not as heavy.
Yes.
The ones that I don't like is when you walk in and it just feels like it just it's almost like opening up your front door on an extremely hot summer day when you've got your air conditioning set to like 66 degrees and your room is like 66, and you open that door up and it's like 80 and 85% humidity outside, and it just like slaps you down. That's kind of one of the feelings too whenever you come across that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And we have.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think every one of us has, but there are some of us who are in this, in the paranormal investigation part of it that aren't as sensitive as some others.
Yes. Now, the one thing I will say about that is I do believe, okay, and this may sound like, totally off the wall for some people, but I feel like you guys will understand. I know Scott understands. I know my guys understand. Like, everybody has these abilities.
Oh, yeah.
You can tap into these abilities.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't clear yourself enough to do it, you're never going to be able to do it. Right. I can't. I mean, I've got little ones. I'm, Lord help me, because I'm raising all boys here. But I've got
Lord.
And my 7-year-old and my 3-year-old are being brought up and raised in this environment. Yeah. So they know what it means to meditate. They understand mommy's altar, and my 7-year-old is starting to understand the crystals and what they mean and the properties of them. And he, at 7 years old, is honing into this. My 3-year-old, now he tries really hard, but he don't know what he's doing.
No,
but he's so cool.
But he's still learning.
Yes, and I was literally just talking to a really good girlfriend of mine the other day, and I told her, I said, you do realize you have abilities. I said, stop being so stubborn. Let this just flow the way that it needs to. Mm-hmm. It was like 4 days later, she was like, oh my God, Teresa, like, you were right. Like, I had this vision, I had this dream the next day, and I'm like, see, stop ignoring it. Like, just so many people.
That's because a lot of the people that have it and are afraid to tap into it, that's the way they were raised.
Yes.
They were taught to ignore it, or they were taught that it was a bad thing.
Well, and especially, and I mean, I kind of hate to bring this up now, but I mean, I was just talking to Scott about this, about, hey, you know, my girlfriend said we need to make this like a topic for, you know, one of our shows, but it's religion and the paranormal, you know, the ties, the connections.
They actually do tie in.
It's one of those things where, like you said, depending on how you were raised, oh, no. Depending on your religion, that's a no.
Yes,
You don't
exactly.
talk about that kind of stuff. You don't indulge into that kind of stuff. And if you do, like, you're outcasted, man. Like, you are the devil. Like, so I totally understand that. And especially your older generations, because that was something, I mean, my parents, that was a huge no-no back in, you know, in when parents were kids or in their early 20s, 30s, you know, that was a huge no-no. You did not talk about that kind of stuff. You did not indulge into that kind of stuff. And if you did, depending on what religion you practiced, guess what? You were a sinner and you were outcasted, not only by
exactly
the congregation of the church, but your own family and friends.
I was raised as a Pentecost, or I should say I was
Okay.
born into a Pentecost family. They tried to raise me as a Pentecost, and I rebelled.
He's a rebel.
Well,
I was rebels too.
Cassie here,
rebel.
she's one of our viewers, and she's one of our interviews a while back. She's asking about how to safely learn and practice whenever you're trying to progress further.
Okay, well, don't believe everything you see in Google, for one.
No, you can't believe everything you Google.
What about meditation?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Google is a huge. I mean, it's a good platform if you want to use it. I mean, I don't know about you, Mark, and how you started this journey and how. But
my journey started when I was about 15, and it was a hell of a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say I was pretty young too. The best
I learned
advice that I can
some
give
of it. I
is,
learned the hard way.
Yeah. Well, and I think everybody has, unless you started out being guided by somebody. Like I wasn't guided by anybody.
Nope.
You know,
Nope. Most everything I've done, I've learned on my own, and then until I hooked up with the one woman that was a witch, and she taught me some other stuff. But she played around with both the dark and the light, but she would only teach me the light stuff. She'd only teach me the good side of it all. And I'm glad that's all she did, because I actually did ask her a couple of times to show me some of that dark, because I wanted to experience it and I wanted to know it. But she wouldn't do that.
there is a part of that side that is good to know. That way you can tell if you have been cursed, or you can tell if there is a hex.
There's one of them that I know.
Feel it.
Yeah.
And
there is one of them I know. It's the one with, you take the chicken egg.
Yes.
Yeah. I know how to do that.
Did you do it? That's the question.
What's that?
Did you do it?
Did I do
Just know it, or did you do it?
You take the chicken egg, and that's how you remove the curse. That's how you remove the dark from a person that's been touched that way.
Right.
Because the chicken egg, if you do it correctly and it works, when you crack the egg into a bowl, it'll be bloody.
Yes.
Bloody hell.
What's that, Scott?
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The
I
bloody
mean,
hell.
I've seen some pretty wild videos of that, of someone doing that.
What's wrong, Joe?
Just ruined my breakfast. An egg for a while.
Don't want to be cracking no eggs in
All right, Cassie's saying she's not regarding learning witchcraft. protecting yourself in an investigation situation. Well, we're not really talking about witchcraft, Cassie. We're talking more of the Wicca faith. It's actually a faith in a religion.
Yeah.
And it
Mister.
deals with a lot of protection. If you want to protect yourself, this is going to be my thing on this. If you want to protect yourself during an investigation, find yourself a black tourmaline.
Yes.
Black tourmaline is one of the most powerful stones in the Wicca faith for protection. You use that in a leather pouch with some sea salt. Put sea salt in the pouch, put the tourmaline in with it, and wear it or keep it on your person. It should actually help with keeping, the bad spirits from messing with you.
Right.
Did you?
I mean, and a lot of even the witches who go on investigations and stuff, they will carry what we call small jars that have that in and keep it on our person, on with us, with our team in our vehicle. That way, the whole time that we are on or in travel to an investigation, we're protected. I know a lot of people don't understand, depending on the location in which you're going and depending on what you may be dealing with there in a spiritual way, they already know you're coming. They already know you're coming.
Yeah, they do.
And it's good to keep yourself protected, not only while you're at the location, but before you go to the location as well. Cleansing yourself too before you come home. I have a husband at home. I have children at home, and
you don't want to bring it in to them.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to keep my family protected as well as I want to keep myself and my guys protected. So yeah.
And Cassie, no, it shouldn't interfere with your your further seeing. It's basically just to protect. That's what
I mean, it's protecting you from negative energy.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I think we're getting to that time.
Yeah.
We got to kind of keep them around an hour.
Yeah, we've got our show coming up at 9:00. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice kind of being able to come here and speak with you guys, and then we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll have some time in between. We can go over and do our show.
What's that, Joe?
I was asking Teresa, what was it like being on the flip side of things?
Oh, yeah.
Not the whole
flip side of things. Hey,
it's fun.
I'm fine with both positions, okay? I'm fine. Take it either way.
Thanks, Cass.
Well, thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you for having us.
I love the talk.
Yeah, it's great.
Teresa,
I'll be in touch.
We need to keep. Yeah, you and I need to communicate a little bit more here. I'm finding now, since we've been doing this and in the paranormal and been doing a lot of this, I'm finding now that I'm actually able to communicate and connect with more people who are into the Wicca and witchcraft part of
and it's so
paranormal.
nice because more people are actually talking about it, because in society it has become more acceptable.
Yes, it has become more acceptable, and we're not looked at.
I will tell you,
we're not looked at like we used to be looked at.
Yeah,
we're not looked at as being a bad, the bad thing.
Yeah,
we
are not devil worshippers, y'all. Okay?
No, we're not. We're not devil worshippers. All right. Well, thanks, guys. It was really fun talking with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
thanks for having us, guys.
Very good time. Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.
See ya.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. One quick thing first. What's that, Joe?
March 21st.
What's that?
Paraflex launches.
Oh, yeah. Paraflex launches on March 21st. and we're going to be
Oh.
on Paraflix.
I was
so-
going to ask you about Paraflex. Okay, cool.
Okay, awesome.
Be looking for it.
So, besides your Paranormal Gateway, is there any other website that you want to promote quick before we go?
Well, we both have websites and Facebook pages for our individual investigation groups too. So, Paranormal Truth Seekers you can find on Facebook.
Okay.
The Ghost Gateway Paranormal Investigations you can find on Facebook. And we both do have websites as well. So, yeah, I mean, you can definitely find us. Our website, the links and everything are on our Facebook pages. I think we have them on the ParaTalk page too. I
Okay.
think so.
All right. Cool.
Mhm.
Just wanted to make
Yeah,
sure you got
Pretty
your
easy to
plug.
find. Yeah. Thanks for having us, guys.
Oh, thanks for coming in. Anything else, Joe,
Night.
before we go?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Thanks again. You guys have a good evening. And
Thank
good
you.
show.
You
I'm
too.
going to try to
You
tune in.
too.
Okay.
Good night.